Hi everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Mindset by Nomtech. Our today's guest is Piotr Śliwiński, who is a co-founder and VP of Innovation at Explain Everything. Explain Everything is a digital product that has been on the market for 10 years now, so I cannot wait to pick Piotr's brain about how he has so successfully developed his product across these years and gain some knowledge about how it became so popular worldwide. Piotr, it's a real pleasure to have you here with us. So you're a co-founder and VP of Innovation at Explain Everything. But could you tell us a little bit more about what Explain Everything actually is?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. So Explain Everything is many things at once. So first is a digital whiteboard. The second one is a digital whiteboard with recording. And the third one is a digital whiteboard with collaboration. So I think it's best if I show it to you live. So our tool is meant for doing presentations. So this is how it looks like. So we have a screen just like in a whiteboard. You can have it in portrait mode or in landscape mode. And yeah, so there is the whiteboard. There are the various tools. And the easiest thing that you can do with the whiteboard is just write. So let's write something. Then the second thing is recording. So the second thing, we can switch on recording and then record everything. Then everything that you do on the screen is being recorded. So if I zoom in or out, then this is also recorded. And then we press stop. And then we have the timeline at the bottom. And everything what I've just done is recorded together with sound. So I can play it back. And then you can hear the recording.
As you speak?
As I speak. So
it's not just a window recording, but actually the voiceover as well.
Yeah, and you can edit this. So this gives you two use cases. First one, as a way to record online lectures, and the second one, to show how you're thinking. What is your thinking process, and you can record it. And then show it to someone. So in education, you can show how your thinking goes and whether the problem that you just solved was solved in the right way. And then there's the third thing, the collaboration. So we can share the whiteboard with multiple people and work on it at the same time.
I've read that the very first iteration of your product wasn't so successful initially. What do you think was the main reason behind that? And if you were to make any changes, what would you change in the early stages of Explain Everything?
The first product was an animation app. So the animation app was very original, but wasn't meant to be in any specific market. So every idea seems to be laughable at the moment when it's just starting. So this is a real screenshot from June 2008. And the only thing that this app could do was this. I can simulate this in the newest version of this app here. So the only thing that you could do is to press record, move this guy around,
right,
and then back. I think that it was together with sound. And so this is just this. But there is a very big perspective in front of this project. So everything is laughable at the very beginning, but then when you proceed with this and are not concerned with people giving you bad feedback, if you believe in this, then this will progress and, well, hopefully any idea can be done in such a way that becomes popular.
And I think it's a great testament that you should not take personally what other people say, because there are always going to be opinions flying around. But this is a foundation that led to what Explain Everything actually is now. So, I mean, kudos to you for transforming this very what looks like basic, but I'm pretty sure wasn't so basic at that time, idea into such a successful business?
The idea has to have some space in it, and doesn't have to be defined from the very beginning with all the details.
Right.
If you're able to add details all along the way, then it seems that the idea has perspective.
Mm-hmm.
If you design everything 100%, so every single detail, then there's not much space in it to evolve. So the first app wasn't very successful commercially because it wasn't meant for any specific market. So this was, from 0 to 100, from a human to an alien, and something like that. So this is difficult to have much success on the market with such a wide target audience because it's difficult to show to them how they can use it.
Okay.
So as you can see here, the first screens were pretty wild. I think that we tried at least 50 different designs that look like, more or less crazy.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, it was even called iPuppetry, so we had puppets and you could record them. And we, at the last minute, changed the name to Photo Puppet. And yeah, this is how it looked like. So this is October 2010.
Well, we've really came a long way since then.
Yeah, so as you can see here, the design is, I think, on par with what was available in 2010.
Yeah, I agree.
But then the engine behind it, the animation engine, was very similar to what you see today in Explain Everything. And so this product doesn't have a target market, but it served as a beacon of sorts. Mm-hmm. So if you have an idea and you publish it, and many people look at this and you sometimes don't know who that can be. You don't control it anymore. Mm-hmm. So I think it's even better than if you put out $1 billion and made a CNN advert.
Yeah. Because
then only people who watch CNN would see that. So in our case, this was the people that were looking all on the App Store to find something that you can create with. Mm-hmm. So at the very beginning, the iPad was a content consumption device. And everybody, you can watch internet on it, you can read web pages, you can watch movies. But can you create anything with that? It doesn't have a camera. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have the pencil was not around yet. And people were coming up with all sorts of different styluses for this. But our app was one of the first ones that really enabled you to create something. Mm-hmm. So for example, every day since we published this on the App Store in October 2010, mm-hmm. I was looking all over internet who is looking at our app, who is reviewing it, who is commenting on that, who mentioned that on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And this way, I think they personally followed about 2,000 people on Twitter.
Hard work.
Yeah. So this way I found out what is the limit on Twitter. So you cannot follow more than 2,000 people.
Labor of love, we can
say. That was 10 years ago. Maybe right now this limit is higher. But this way I found a few people that were really interested in that.
One of them was really interested, and that led to major success. So tell us about it.
Yeah, so one of those people was Rashan Richards, who wrote, so these are the three founders. So this is me and Bart, mm-hmm. the Polish co-founders, and this is Rashan. And Rashan is an educator and an inventor based in the United States, in New York, and right now in Connecticut. And he saw our animation app and thought that, this could be used in education. So this is the first thing. And after some small changes, it could be redone into a whiteboard. Mm-hmm. So we had already everything that was needed. So we had recording, we have inserting pictures, but we didn't have drawing and we didn't have inserting slides. So
Okay.
that what was added. The interface was changed a bit, and we found out that Rashan's ideas are clicking together with ours like this. So
Perfect.
this was a real synergy, which enabled us to enter the target market, the real target market, which at this moment became the American education.
Having your experience, what advice would you give to fellow product managers on what they can look out for in maybe the beginning stages and then after product market fit when they develop their products? Is there anything specific that you should warn them to look out for? Any variables?
If you could do an MVP, a minimum viable product, while not defining all the details, and that this would still work, and you could see for a couple more years what you could add to that, then probably there is a perspective. If this is something very specific, where you can define on one page what that is, then perhaps this will be successful in some very specific market. But so this is the one rule I would look for this space.
So don't be afraid of the unknown. Great.
Definitely.
And right now, what would you say are the biggest challenges that you face around your product?
I think at this moment we need to be super scalable. So, for example, in March 2020, almost overnight, our usage increased twofold. But we were prepared for this because we have a system to find out how many simultaneous users do we support. And this is also some kind of maybe this was luck, but we tested that a few months before, and we knew that we support up to a certain number of simultaneous users, and but we were ready to increase it about fivefold. When COVID struck, we were able to increase this limit almost overnight, and when this surge happened, we were prepared for that, so we never had any downtimes. So that's so this is something that we have to always to watch, how many people are
Right.
able to connect at any one time.
So this is one part of the way to approach process and development. Do you consider any other factors critical in that process? And should it change depending on the product stage and maturity?
Yeah, I think that there are stages at the both product level and the company level. So the bigger companies, the bigger is the inertia. The bigger the product is, the more functions it has. It also creates inertia. When you have a product like ours, where you have two native apps, one for iOS, one for Android/Chrome. When you have the web version, and when you have this online component that enables collaboration, then making changes in all of them at once will take much more time.
Than just focusing on one thing.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And so tell us a little bit more about how the process of product development and implementation looks like specifically at Explain Everything. Do your analytics team does the research when they look out for new features, or maybe do you ask your existing clients about their needs, or perhaps you just look at the general industry trends in education?
Yeah, I think this is a blended approach. So at the very beginning, we had a kind of a intelligent design from the very beginning. So we knew that this is a product that needs to be out there, how it should like, more or less. And our MVP, so to say, was already very complicated. So in order to find out what works and what doesn't, you obviously have to look at the analytics. You have to talk to your users. In our case, this is very fortunate because the educational area is something that, first, they can talk, they can share information, this is their, well, I think full approach to life. When you're a teacher,
Yes.
then you're teaching, then you can share the information, and the teachers provide very good feedback to us. So in general, the educational community provides very good feedback. They tweet, they write us emails. Some of that also we see in the analytics, who is using what. And this way, we're able to address many things that are needed by the community.
And can you tell us a little bit more how you are structured at Explain Everything, and especially your product team? What roles do people have, and do they report to in any specific way to each other? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I think that we have a really flat structure. So our CEO at this moment is Roshan,
Right.
and it really makes sense because he's the most credible on the American educational market. Then we have a management, this is the middle management comprised of, I think that's up to 7 people. And then the rest of the company comprised of teams. And well, we have the iOS team, the Android team, the core team that prepares the server and the engine. We have customer support, we have sales, we have the product team, which is 4 people. And the whole company is right now 56 people.
Okay.
55 people in Poland, 1 person in the US.
Your representative. Okay, and how do you set goals for each teams? Do you use maybe any KPIs, OKRs? How do you manage to keep the machine efficient and well-oiled?
Yeah, to some degree we use KPIs. We can define the goals are, for example, up to a certain point we will need to support this many collaborations on our system at any one time. Or we can define it that there are 6 things that we need to introduce into the product over the course of the year, and how many did we succeed with. But during that time I found out that this is a bit difficult for us. So for example, I really value the outsourcing companies that they are able to proceed so smoothly. In our case, at the very beginning, when our product wasn't so successful yet, we tried to do some subcontracting, but we were always terrible at this.
Okay.
So blowing past deadlines and this was really difficult. So I think that we are far better at creating our own products, which is I think there is always a balance between order and chaos. And when you have chaos on this side and the order on this side, then you have the productivity as such a line between them. And the productivity probably is highest when you have the right balance between order and chaos. So whenever there is somebody who introduces order, then the productivity slips. Right. When there is somebody who introduces too much chaos, then the productivity slips. There needs to be a balance between this chaos, productive chaos, and order, and that's what gives the best results.
And who fine-tunes this balance? Is it the joint effort of all the teams, or do you have a specific designated person that kind of oversees the process and decides, oh, we have a bit of too much chaos going on right now, we should rein in our operations? So is it a team effort, or there is someone specific that aligns it?
I think that to some degree this is the role of the structure. The human factor is also important, because when you have somebody who has too strong personality and introduces too much order, then this is difficult to bear. Of course, another situation happens when you have too much chaos, and another person with a strong personality that introduces too much chaos. So I think that this is, the HR thing is very important, how to balance that. So I am not saying that we have solved this problem. I don't think that we have solved it at all. So there are always problems, but I think that this is always a thing that needs to be addressed.
Right.
But there should be always a balance, and whenever you see that somebody is, giving you a hard time and telling you that you should be here from 9 to 5 and that's it, and this is the only KPI that you have, then this is obviously wrong.
Mm-hmm.
When there is somebody that tells you that he doesn't care for you if you come to work or not, or if you work at all, and if you work in a specific time or not, then probably this is a bit too much chaos.
Mm-hmm.
One of the funny stories that I can tell, that we were always big on this flexible time, but the flexible time means that you have to generally be available when the other people are available.
Right.
But that was this one guy that was when this was a long time ago. So he was coming into the office at 4:30 a.m. and left the office at 8, and then he again came to the office at 8 p.m. and left at 12. So during that time, we didn't see him, because usually there is somebody in the office between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. But this was the time that this was used by this guy. Yeah, he did something, but it wasn't very productive for the team.
Mm-hmm.
So this
I can imagine why. So we've agreed that some element of flexibility is important when you organize your work, but you still need to keep track of all the metrics that are going on in the background. So how often do you do that, and are there any specific formats that you have that you use? Explain everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So we use analytics in order to track the amount of users, the number of users that are using the app every day,
mm-hmm.
and not only using the app, but also what functions they are using, and we track them. Yeah, we track this every day. So so this is the example.
Right.
So these are the monthly active users. So this is the MAU,
mm-hmm.
monthly active users, and this is a period of about 2 years, and here you can see March 2020
mm-hmm.
as clearly the one that introduced a surge of usage. And if you look at the overall usage, you see that the usage after COVID, after March, is almost
doubled,
twice
mm-hmm.
what was before. So these are the monthly active users.
And the period of stagnation, is that correlates with the summer period when the education is kind of put on hold, or?
Yeah, this is a very correct statement. The fun part here is that we see this twice, so that there is the southern hemisphere that
mm-hmm.
has their vacations, their summer vacations in our winter.
Yeah.
And the northern hemisphere, which has the vacations in our regular time. So in our case, we see 2 cycles.
Mm-hmm.
So there is the southern hemisphere cycle and the northern hemisphere. And this is also connected to the number of users that are present in specific countries.
Mm-hmm.
So in our case, so these are the number of unique users that we had for the last 2 years, I believe. This is since January 2020. So the overall is 1.5 million,
mm-hmm.
and we have almost a third, more than a third in the US. And you see here in Europe, we have considerable amounts in countries such as Denmark, Norway, UK, Germany, and Spain, and France, and Poland as well. So we are very happy about this, that the usage in Poland is rising. In Turkey
mm-hmm.
as well, and right now in India, in Australia,
okay.
and New Zealand. So and Canada as well. So these are our historically strong markets. So we know where our users are. What else do we track? So these are also the numbers for simultaneous collaborations in our system. So this means how many projects are people connected to at any one time. And as you can see here, this is again March 2020.
Yeah, massively.
And this has increased also more than twofold, because in our case, the app is not 100% online. So you can use the iOS and the Android app offline without the access to the internet, and you can use the app, the web app, only on the internet. So and all kinds of our apps can connect to each other or to our online system. So that's why first, we are less susceptible to any problems whenever the internet breaks up, because you can still work offline, and also our infrastructure is not so strained every time somebody starts a project. So these are the kinds of things that we track, and we watch so that we are prepared for any trends.
Most people know what the role of a co-founder entails, but you're also a VP of innovation. So could you tell us a little bit more about what that role entails and what are your responsibilities?
Yeah, so for example, with the co-founder, you can always have different kinds of co-founders. So we have, for example, the business co-founder, and that's Bart. You have the education/invention co-founder, Reshan, and I am a invention/tech co-founder. So you could divide co-founders in maybe 3 or 4 ways. As far as the VP of innovation, I think that this is something that introduces creative chaos, produces research and development. Some of the things, as you can see at the very beginning, might be laughable. But when you progress with them and we have a team that does incredible things, then those ideas can be made into reality. So
yeah, sometimes what is missing is just the target audience and specific industry that you want to apply those tools. And I think you still introduce minor changes to your existing products from way back when and achieve a massive success. So as we've discussed, like no idea is stupid or should be neglected too soon. Yeah. Great. And your app was downloaded now almost 20 million times. So what do you think helped it the most to achieve such a global success in so many countries?
I think that the first thing is that this app is not boring. So it wasn't even created at the very beginning as a whiteboard. So I think that most of the other whiteboards are created from the very beginning as whiteboards. And that's it. So this, to some degree, limits the vision. In this case, this is an animation app with the whiteboard on the top, and there are still many things concerned with animation that are inside, and many of those concepts that we have concerning recording of the animation helped in our preparing the service that provides collaboration and real-time recording. So I think that this is a combination of unique features and finding a person that was credible in the target market and finding a target market that was very beneficial to us as well.
We said that you had more or less of a smooth sailing across these 10 years in terms of growth and in terms of product development, but we at Nomtech like to openly discuss our failures as well. So is there any particular fuck up that you can think of that happened along the way and that really discouraged you or really made you think twice about the whole process? Were there any period of doubt?
Yeah, I think that for all this time, we never have done any significant, technical fuck-ups. So one of those things that was unexpected is that we prepared a Windows version that was a native version, and we found out that everything that it can be done in iOS or Android very easily is very difficult to do on Windows, which was totally startling. So that was one of the things, but I think this was the only major technical thing that we failed at. I think that throughout these 10 years, we had more of a problem with certain people. So that this was like a human factor which matters the most.
Anything else that you can think of given your vast experience already in the industry and in business in general?
I think that this can be thought of on a few different levels. So first is the global level. So first, on the global level, where could be most helpful at? Then there is the less than global level, for example, the country level, and then the question, where could be most helpful at? And I think that, so these are very broad subjects, and I will only address just one concerning, Poland itself. So I think that Poland needs own brands, own products. This has to be developed as soon as we are, as we have more money, as we are on a higher level of the industry. Because every time that somebody learns something at big companies, they can use it for themselves to start their own companies. So, for example, I was an employee of large corporations for more than 10 years, and every time I thought that, well, I'm more and more becoming a specialist in something that I did not think up. This was thought up by somebody else. I am becoming a specialist in that. And whenever you feel like this, you could think about your own ideas. And when you develop them, then you will find out that sooner or later there will be people that are specialists in what you thought up. And some of them might be better than you in those ideas that you thought up, which is, even more rewarding. So I think that the general evolution of people, that this is nothing wrong to work for a corporation, this is nothing wrong to work for somebody. Just find out what you can learn, whether you have some ideas of your own that are interesting to you personally, and then develop them, and then we'll, sooner or later find out that this works. Because if there's something that you're truly interested in, if there's something that you truly want to do, then this is much better than working on something that you were given to do.
Thank you, Piotr. These has been some very motivational and inspiring words, and thank you for the conversation. I truly believe that our listeners will greatly benefit from your insights and your experience, and I have to say I wish you all the very best to dominating the education industry. I really admire the value that you bring to education, but also to the society in general, internationally. So good luck, and again, thank you so much for coming here, for taking the time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Dear listeners, thank you so much for being here with us today. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment. We cannot wait to hear your feedback, and maybe there's someone you would like us to invite for the next episode. Let us know, subscribe, and thank you again. See you soon.